I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the water, get some water going through this thing. Maybe that'll get some folks in here. You guys interested in gold mining at all? I can show you how to get your own gold. You know, they grow it in the ground around here.
Yep,
Costs a lot less when you get it out of the ground.
Yep.
Then we got power on. Plug it in my power forward fix. This one. All right, we are filling up the tank. Gonna add some jig shot. Create a barrier for this gravimetric separator. World's first portable mini jig. As far as getting gold goes, this is as simple as it gets. It's a plug and play system. 95% recovery is what the U.S. government, several independent studies have said. Come on in, I'll tell you all about it. This is a 12-pound gold recovery system that you can, if you can walk there, you can walk in there with carrying this in one hand. It's a mineral jig. What's happening right now is we're adding water that's flooding this system right here, and it's called a jig because of this action that happens right here. This little bar pumping up and down, thrust this rubber membrane, and it creates thrust and draw, just like when you're shaking a gold pan, except it happens 300 times a minute. You see, we don't need much water. There's no water pressure, it's not the issue. If you got enough water to overflow this system, you got plenty. You can actually run this thing off your kitchen sink if you want. Where a lot of other systems require a lot more. I'm gonna add just a little bit of water so we don't have to sit here all night looking at it. And then the magic happens when we hit the button. What's happening right now is that diaphragm is creating thrust and draw, like I said, just like when you shake a gold pin, except it's happening 300 times a minute. And I just put a bunch of these steel babies in there. This is what's called the gravimetric separator. Separates by specific gravity and size. The specific gravity, gold is 19 times heavier than water. That's its specific gravity. Steel is 7.8 times heavier. And most of your local gravels, where you go to find the gold, are 2. So there's a big difference, right? So what happens is we put that steel barrier in place, and that stops lighter material from going down into our concentrates and being captured. What it does is it forces, when I feed this much, I'll put this right here, I dump the dirt in, and if you look, it's not being washed out like a sluice box washes the material across. You see how slow that water's going. If I make a bubble, it's barely moving. So we're not washing material out. You got a 95% recovery rate with one of these, which a modern day sluice box can boast 60 to 85% of the coarse gold, 30 to 40% of the fine gold. A mineral jig, the same studies done by the U.S. government, boasts 95% or better recovery with a mineral jig. And you can feed it fairly quick. What's happened here is we're not washing material out. As I add heavy material, it's forcing the light material out. Because gold is heavy. And we want gold, right? I'm gonna feed it. You can feed it pretty quick. Those mineral jigs right there, you can do 1,000 pounds an hour. The duplex jigs. This is a simplex. Simplex and duplex just means single cell and double cell. If you stick your fingers in there, you can kind of feel it sucking on your fingers, trying to get it to pull it down to the screen because my finger's heavier than the steel as well. You put some sapphires in there. So they use these all over the world for gold recovery and gem recovery. The reason you don't see them all the time is because they're incredibly expensive. They work really well. And when me and my brother, we grew up on a mine site in the 80s and 90s, and my dad had gold or mineral jigs on his machines, and they were $90,000 in 1980. You know what I mean? So they're hundreds of thousands of dollars now. The only machine that can compete with, that has the same production rate and same recovery rate as our duplex right there. The Chinese making it. It weighs 400 pounds and it costs $8,000. That one weighs 17 pounds. This one weighs a little over 12.
So do you make them in, like, are there
bigger sizes? Or is
Well, they have industrial sized jigs all over the world. We make these in my brother's garage right next to his wife's car on my dad in Wasilla. And we've been doing this for about a year now. This is our second fair. What we're doing is educating folks on the jigs. We will get bigger at some point. We made this small one because that's all we were thinking about, was going bigger and bigger. Because we want to do more to get more gold. But these folks from Wyoming called and said, folks in our area really only make $1,000 a year on their side action with the gold. So buying an $1,800 machine doesn't make much sense to them. It's not very attractive. Could you make something smaller? So we made this one, and we're selling this model for $600. And it does the same recovery rate as that duplex jig right there. That duplex has the added bonus of a second cell, so you have some redundancy, but this one here, you just can't put as much material through it. You know, but it's still 95+% recovery. And the amazing thing about these, or one of the best things about them, is I can run this thing all day and all night, put 1,000 cubic yards of gravel through it, and as long as I don't fill that cell up, this portion, this plus size fraction, will never be more than about a quarter of a thing. So as I add more material, the gold ratio goes up and the gravel ratio goes down. It's limited by size. When you run a sluice box, you end up with buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets of concentrate. And then what are you going to do with all those concentrates? Pan them out. If there's 15 ounces of gold at $2,500 an ounce, I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to get that gold out of there. But with this thing, I can run a 5-gallon bucket in 5 minutes. And when I get done, you saw how fast we ran that. What you got in here is some just oversized stuff. If you come over and look, you can kind of see the thrust that's happening right there. The bounce, 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 bounce. It's holding that light stuff up there. It will never work its way down there. As we add heavy stuff, it works that light stuff out. We'll do a little clean out. I'm going to clean this out just a little bit with my hands. All the heavy stuff is already sunk down, you know, and he just added a couple of gems, so I got to be careful because they won't actually go past that steel. That steel is 7.8. Diamonds, these are sapphires. All the gems, they're in between 3 and 6, so they're lighter than the steel. So they won't work their way past the steel, but they're heavier than all this gravel. So we'll just push some of this big stuff out, and I'll show you how quick it is to clean this thing out. Takes just a minute. And you can sit, like I said, you can sit on the beach in Nome or Nikiski or up at your crazy uncle's gold mine and just run dirt all day long. And theoretically speaking, you won't lose any gold until it spits all those steel balls out, because those steel balls are 7.8. This thing. So we'll go ahead and turn that off.
Thank you.
Yep, have a great day. So now we're going to clean out this oversized tray, let it drain down just a little bit. And it's just 4 easy wing nuts. And you're ready to change screens. One of the things you can do with this simplex, kind of like that second stage over there, is just change the screens and you'll get another cut. So no matter how long you run this machine, you will never end up with more than this material right here. You could have 3 ounces of gold sitting right there. And the size of this clean out is never going to be any more on this plus size fraction. That's one of the huge advantages to this machine. The other is that you can pick it up and carry it with one hand to wherever you're going. About to do a clean out here if you want to see the gold. Shiny stuff about to go on display. You said Ebonkus? You like gold? I don't think those girls, I think they were just here to look at me. I think they're interested in the mining technology at all. Anyway, here we go. Gonna do a quick clean out, check out this coarse gold, see what this plus size screen shows us. There should be a sapphire, a couple of sapphires in here also, which are from Ethiopia. They were smuggled into this country by our film man. Maybe, maybe not. So, plus size fraction, once again, is never going to be bigger than this. Once we jump out the jig shot, I'll show you how that works. We're going to end up with very little material overall. So, take a 1/4 inch bucket screen, because we use 1/4 inch steel bearings, and then I'm just going to flop it out in this. Sometimes on this screen we'll see gold. You can see quite a bit of it stuck to this back run right here. Pieces there, kind of along this back edge, right where we were feeding the material. It didn't migrate very far at all. That just shows you how well that jig will grab that gold. It drags it right to the bottom while it bounces the big rocks right out the front of it. It is a sweet little unit. Oh, there's a piece stuck on the side, so gonna rinse this off. Into wash it off from the bottom. Over time your screen can get impacted with sand and whatnot, so might want to take a toothbrush and brush it out every once in a while. But really, the nice thing about this is you don't have to clean out very often at all. You can run this thing all day and all night, and this fraction is never going to get any bigger, and your recovery is never going to get any weaker. You got it all right there. There's a little piece stuck in the back of that. So now we're just going to wash all those oversized concentrates down real quick. Wash off the steel balls so that all the material we want to keep goes in the bucket. That didn't take any time at all. I'm going to put this stuff in here. Ooh. I don't get dumping all on the ground. Actually, I just set this off to the side for now because we don't even need to use it. And then dump most of this water back in our tub here. Doing a clean out. If you guys want to see the gold, if you like gold, come over here. I'll show you some. So, careful not to dump our concentrates into our tailings pile. Okay, hear that? That is all the dirt we have left after I cleaned out. That fraction's never going to grow.
Oh my God, we gotta go!
See if we got a clean bucket here. Got some party action going on. Okay. That is not a lot of material right there. You have to pick through to find your gold, and that's my favorite thing about this whole system. And a little bit more. All right. Now, we're going to bounce it around, shake it up, get the ultra heavy stuff down, and we certainly could have cleaned this out a little bit more in the machine, but in the interest of time, we went pretty quick. So, we'll just kind of wash this top stuff back because we know all the heavy stuff sunk to the bottom. We'll just start doing a little turn here. See when this gold shows up. Oh yeah, just a nice little pile of it right there. One of the things you do when you're bouncing that pan around is you're dropping all the heavy stuff to the bottom. Same thing that happens in the jig. But that took 2 minutes, and we're ready to start picking it out with a snuffer bottle and collect it and put it in our vials to show all of our friends. So, if you're still walking by and you didn't stop to see the show, that was probably the best demonstration ever given by Riverdance Mini. Guys like gold, want to see some gold? We just did a clean out. It's right here, they grow up the ground around there. I mean, I think people just missed out on genius right there. Now let's see how much concentrates we got. The fine stuff that made it through, this fraction can grow. We got a little bit of sand in our machine right here, so I'm going to wash it down. It's top-down clean out, and it takes just a couple of minutes. As you can see, the oversized fraction took us just a second. quite a bit of sand up here on the lip, so we like to rinse that off a little bit. Try to wash that down in there with the rest of the concentrate. Oh, I didn't take the cap off. Do that right now. So we'll take this cap off. Not always necessary, but in this case, a lot of times gold will get trapped inside this cap too. So if it's your final clean out of the day, you definitely want to check it. Oh, my hand does not work like that, so I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna pick it up. So I get my hand up underneath it, turn it out. I'll put it back down on there. A little bit of sand. Maybe see a little bit of gold in there. Just rinsed a little bit of sand that gets caught on this rubber diaphragm down into our concentrate so we don't leave any gold behind. Like I said, you don't have to clean this thing out until it starts spitting babies out, or you get a lot of concentrates and you're ready to drop your screen size to eliminate all of that work that comes with a bunch of concentrates. We don't want to spend all day panning this stuff out. So let's see what we ended up with. And this too could be like a little piece of float gold right there. Sink it. So a fair amount of concentrates there, and we can cut that down to nothing just by dropping our screen size. We were running a 30 mesh screen on the last test, is it right? And we ended up with quite a bit of concentrate, so I think we probably ought to run this through the 60 just to see. But instead, we're just gonna end it right there and say, if you think that's the greatest demonstration you've ever seen on the internet, vote Larry Wood for president. Thank you. Okay.